in Indonesia. The welcome we've had from the locals and friends has been absolutely top-notch. As you say, they've put in an enormous amount of work to really bring this circuit up to standard, right the way from the pre-season test. Even in the last month, they've really done a lot of hard work on the infrastructure around here, the roads around the circuit, the grandstands. Even a month ago, this circuit was unrecognisable to what we have now. They really have done a tremendous job as well with the track surface. It's perhaps not the ultimate solution that we want, but it is certainly a step in the right direction.
So Alicia Spargo and Alex Rins, all they can do is play the waiting game and hope for a break in this weather. As we said, those thunderclaps are getting so ferocious. Our commentary box was literally shaking. That's no exaggeration. I'm actually relieved that our dear colleague Amy Reynolds is actually not here. She's pretty fond of the old Thunder. Hope you're well back in the UK, Amy. Of course, we're looking forward to hocking with you again when the European season kicks off in Portimao. To Sam and Freddie. You will be relieved, I'm sure, watching from home that you are back over in the UK and not experienced this torrential thunderstorms. Continue to give the latest updates then to the paddock and the pit lane. Fabio Quartararo still just trying to keep himself cool, keep himself relaxed. Will he hopefully get to start from his first pole position since the Catalonia battle in Barcelona last June? Now that here we go then. The pit lane is not going to open until 15:45 local time at the earliest. So the next update we are going to get will be in 25 minutes. So obviously, as you'd expect, the race organisers, the Mandalika organisation, cooperation with the FIM, with Dorna and IRTA, are giving ourselves the best possible chance of having this Grand Prix of Indonesia to take place. But the pit lane will not open then now before 15:45 local time. There's going to be constant monitoring, of course, of the weather forecast. We've got the most sophisticated weather prediction systems in place. Let's pop back down to pit lane and talk to Summer Crayfire. The first rookie into Q2 this year. A truly brilliant performance in Q1 yesterday by Fabio De Giannantonio, only beaten by Pecco Bagnaia. When you looked at the list of names behind it was a truly astonishing performance to get himself into Q2. He was due to start the race from 11th place. The Grazini man down in pit lane with Simon.
Fabio, your effort yesterday in qualifying made us all smile. It was pretty impressive considering the amount of time you've had on the MotoGP bike. I'd like to hear what that was like, putting that lap together, and what it's like sitting here about to go out in a wet race soon, and you've never ridden full wet. So tell us about those things.
Well, I was so happy about yesterday because from Qatar we did a great setup on the setup of the bike, and I was really confident, especially on the front, so I could push really hard, especially in the qualifying for time attack. Honestly, in Q2 I was not, let's say, 100% because I did FP3, FP4, Q1, also in Q2, so I was a bit tired, honestly. For this also I couldn't reply the 31.6 of the Q1, but yeah, it was a great lap. I was super happy about that. And I'm here waiting. Honestly, it's a pity that at the moment we cannot race because the conditions are what they are. But I'm just waiting. For sure, before a race, we are always so focused and try to be in the zone. But now everything is a bit lost, because we are just waiting. We don't know what to do. Maybe we go out, maybe we go in, maybe we cannot go. It's a pity, and also I would like to race in a normal condition, with wet but normal condition, because I would like to try the MotoGP bike on rain. But at the moment seems a bit too much, let's say.
Fabio, I imagine the team and Ducati have so much experience in the wet. They just put a setting that they tell you will work. Do you have any input on how you want the setting, or you just trust them and go ride it?
Well, for sure we start from our base setup of the dry, and we do all the modifying for the wet. But honestly, I don't have any feedback. Also then said to me, go out and enjoy, because we don't know anything. So it's only will be my first time, and waiting.
Fabio, thank you for your time. Good luck this afternoon.
Thank you.
Scenes you didn't expect to see at 3:15 on race day Sunday in the Indonesian Grand Prix. The tyre pit lane is lady audience here.
Well, to be honest, let's hope this works. This is a local rain ritual.
Desperate time.
Banish away these clouds. Let's hope this lady's efforts because from the FIM and from Dorna. Let's keep our fingers crossed that we are going to get the race that we've all come here for. First of Indonesia, 25 years. There you can see that at the bottom of your screens. Pit lane will not open before 15:45 local time.
The bigger issue in addition to the obvious issue, which is the quantity of rain that's falling, is the sunlight. It's due to get dark here around about 6:30, just before half past 6 local time. So we've got around 3 hours to play with before it starts to get dark here, and you just wouldn't be able to race even if it was bone dry. So we are going to get to the stage at some point where that does become a deciding factor. But of course, at the moment, still no reason to panic necessarily too yet. We've still got plenty of time for conditions to hopefully improve. And of course, with Moto3 and Moto2 having already raced this day, this is rather different scenario that might be coming to people's heads of Silverstone. In 2018, we have only one more race to go. Mark Marquez decided to start it. And speaking to our colleagues at the Zone with Spanish TV, he's speaking that he feels good, a little bit stunned, but he is okay. We of course saw Mark Marquez on his feet, and of course heading to the hospital via the ambulance, but under his own steam on his own 2 feet. We of course hope to see Mark Marquez back in action in 2 weeks' time when we return to Terma Hondo for the Argentinian Grand Prix, another circuit, much like the race that follows that, the Circuit of the Americas. So the Grand Prix of the Americas, two circuits that Mark Marquez has had great success at in the past.
Yeah, good to hear. Mark did make his way back to the paddock, and he was able to talk to Spanish TV, as Lewis said. He was stunned. We've all been stunned by his crash weekend in here. That bruising crash in the warm-up session this morning at turn 7 when he was violently flicked a good 15 feet in the air. It was one of the worst crashes I've ever seen. I've been around this MotoGP paddock since 1996. The good news, of course, was that Mark was relatively okay. He was concussed. The bad news rolled out of this Indonesian Grand Prix, which at the moment, unfortunately, has not yet got going. We are waiting patiently, as is the entire pit lane. Hoping and praying that we will get the race underway as soon as we possibly can. Laszlo, of course, from the RNF team we just saw there. Darren Binder looking as relaxed, cool and calm as ever. Nothing more phase for the South African at all. Lynn Jarvis there looking on as well. Will Fabio Quartararo get the chance to start from that pole position? 1:31.06.7 that he set. Just over 34 hours ago now, as yet another big bolt of lightning illuminates the sky out of our commentary box position here. And then again, there's another big clap of thunder. Unfortunately, the forecast were absolutely spot on when we walked into the media centre this morning around 7:30 a.m. local time. The first journalist that came up to me went, "Hey Matt, you do realise that there's going to be thunderstorms at about 3 o'clock this afternoon." I was trying to be as optimistic as I possibly could and said, "Yeah, but we know how quickly the weather can change in this part of the world." Sadly for once, that forecast was absolutely on the way. Let's pop back down the pit lane again and talk to Simon Craig from Delight to say he's grabbed the quick word with Aussie Jack Miller. Down to you, Simon.
Jack, you're famous for being able to adapt quickly changing conditions. Can you give us a run through how the weekend felt until now, and what you're hoping for?
Yeah, the weekends felt all right. I mean, starting ninth on the grid definitely wasn't what I was after yesterday in qualifying, but that's where we are. I mean, a lot of things have changed today. You know, we planned on the 27 lap race, but then they got knocked back, and then the rains come in, so that sort of changed our approach again. So, I mean, 27 lap race was going to be a big old survival race. I think trying to manage the tyres and whatnot. 20 laps sort of back in the safe range, let's say. where you could be able to push a bit more. Now having wet, this should stop pretty soon, and when it does stop, I'm assuming it's going to pull up pretty quickly. And the track won't dry completely, but I think some areas will become dry towards the end of the race. But fingers crossed, it just stops now and we can get back underway.
Jack, thanks for your time. Good luck.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Simon. Thanks to Jack Miller. Yes, echoing the sentiments of all of us here in Indonesia. We do hope that we can get underway. If you are just tuning in, we have delayed start. Fabio Quartararo not obviously expecting any action. He's got back his team clothing. Oh, dearie me! Terrible mistake. Is that ice cream? Oh dear, that's the first mistake Fabio Quartararo has made all weekend so far. That's a little bit of a red face moment for our pole man and our reigning world champion. Now this lady is doing some sterling work now. She's been out on the grid. She is trying to banish away this rain. We sincerely hope it does work. Fabio Quartararo makes his first mistake of the weekend, dropping his ice cream tub. So it's the only mistake he makes of the weekend. Nothing that the riders and the teams can do, of course. All they can do is wait patiently and hope that we do get a break in this torrential rain. Pre-race, it was looking very good for Ducati. They had two bikes in the front row, four bikes that qualified. Sporting director Paolo Ciabatti with him. Down to you guys.
Yeah, I was just saying to Paolo, we've been talking a lot about conditions, and that are 8 very impressive Ducati riders, some rookies, some very experienced. I'd love to hear your thoughts on each of them if you have time.
Yeah, sure. I think we have plenty of time. Let's hope the rain stops pretty soon and we can have a race today. Because so many spectators and the president. What can I say? I think we were impressed positively by all the riders. Obviously, starting from ANEH, he did a fantastic job in Qatar, riding impressively. It's his second season in MotoGP, but for sure to be able to qualify good and then to be so strong in the race and make no mistakes was amazing. Unfortunately, if we talk about Pecco and Jack, obviously Pecco had that crash. That we were trying a few things during the weekend, so probably our riders lost a little bit of confidence, so they couldn't really feel comfortable on the bike. And from Jack's side, unfortunately, he had an electronic problem, so our fault. Here I think we saw that we had 7 riders in the top 12 and the 13th rider is another Ducati Bezzecchi. So, I mean, all of them super fast. If we go back to Bezzecchi and Marini, I think they showed here that they can do very good, especially Marco is impressive here. I think Luca was very good during the test, but also for him, being on a 22 bike, he lost a little bit of confidence in Qatar, but he's gaining it back here. And as for Di Gianantonio, wow, Q2. So Fabio is also a rookie, which is doing very good. And obviously the Martin Zarco, we don't have to say much because they have been so strong all over last year and they continue to be very, very strong here, starting from the first row. So I think we will have a wet race. I think it's probably in a way better for us because if they do a shorter race, 20 laps with Fabio Quartararo, I think it will be very difficult if we can get a good start because he had an impressive, I think will help us a little bit more. And then we see obviously rainy condition, always a kind of risk and gamble, but all our riders are very comfortable in these conditions, so looking forward to the race.
Paolo, through winter testing, it looked like you had found a faster engine, and Ducati never stopped developing. We see that. It looked also that the riders lost a bit of confidence, as you said. I can imagine soon that bike will be better than the 21 bike, but have you found the direction now, do you believe?
Yes, as you know, there are 3 different options of Ducati engines available this year. There is a 21 version, which is what the Gresini riders and Matt Bezzecchi have. Then there is what we call hybrid version of 2022. We riders, you can choose one engine for both riders. On the independent team, you can use also different specs for different riders. But Jack and Pecco have this hybrid version, and then we have the 2 Pramac riders and Marini on the 22. I think the 22 showed here that is as good as. Hopefully there is some room for improvement, but I think the main problem was because we were trying a system that was probably not yet mature, as you can say, to be used in the race. So once the riders, we decided kind of to go back to something more standard. In Qatar, riders had lost a little bit of confidence. So I think here we went back to a more normal setup, and the results prove that this is the right direction. So we have time during the season to bring into the race something new.
Paolo, last question for you. In the future, I'm thinking if that engine is faster, the 22 engine, and we get to somewhere like Austria and you've had time to develop it, do you expect it to start to shine there?
As you know, once you make the choice, it's made for the whole season, no? So we have to stay with the selection that has been made. And obviously, we think, honestly, to be totally transparent, it's so difficult to improve an engine like the engine we were using last year, because it already reached a very high level of performances. So obviously, engineers always try to do a little bit better, but sometimes the difference is really small. So it goes back to the feeling of the rider on that engine more than on the actual performance.
Paolo, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks to Ducati Lenovo team manager Paolo Ciabatti with Simon Crafar. We just saw there was the president of Indonesia. That's how big this event is for the nation of Indonesia, Mr. Joko Widodo, present, hopefully to see some Premier Class race action here. The local announcers are doing their best to keep the fans entertained. We've just heard them now, I think, just singing the national anthem. Of course, this was a man who rode with 20 riders on that special parade in Jakarta, which Lewis attended. Gave us a real insight and a real flavour into just how popular MotoGP is in this part of the world. It's great to have Mr. Widodo here present for what we hope is going to be a landmark and milestone day for Indonesian motorsport. A landmark day, of course, for MotoGP as well. We've talked about how Spain is kind of the European heartbeat of the championship. I think very much the rest of the world heartbeat for MotoGP is very much in this Southeast Asian nation. They love their motorcycle racing. Marc Marquez flags waving. Unfortunately, when we do get underway here in Lombok, we will not see Marquez in action. Got to say, they're doing a pretty good job of keeping up their spirits, Lewis, here, because we've had a pretty lengthy delay. We should have been underway in MotoGP nearly half an hour ago now, but the crowd are still enjoying their day out.
Yeah, I guess they'll say if we've had to wait 25 years for Grand Prix motorcycle racing in the Premier Class to return to this country, what's another couple of hours? Pol Espargaro starting. Well, when we got on the plane to fly out here to Indonesia, we certainly didn't expect Pol Espargaro to be lining up 16th on the grid for this Grand Prix. Of course, the changes to the tyres, Michelin bringing this stiffer construction of tyre, the different casing to deal with the heat that we were expecting here in dry conditions, has certainly caught Repsol Honda out. Pol Espargaro was fastest on 2 of the 3 days at the pre-season test here back in February. Really, really competitive in just about every condition on all days, but Espargaro, once we arrived here in Indonesia, hasn't been able to enjoy the same kind of feeling at this Grand Prix, and was rather critical of Michelin. Of course, Michelin having to make a decision based on the 3 days of data that they had at the test, and decided that they had to bring this different casing of the rear tyre. They were fearful of the heat and of blisters causing them some real problems. We had track temperatures mid-60s centigrade on Thursday here at the Pertamina Mandalika circuit, so you can understand why Michelin were a little bit concerned and a little bit cautious. But Pol Espargaro was saying that their bike simply wasn't made for tyres like the ones that we have here that haven't been run since Buriram in 2018, and it simply caught Repsol Honda out.
Yeah, just a little update from some of our Indonesian colleagues who've been messaging a media WhatsApp group that the MotoGP media keep involved in. And apparently that lady who we saw on the grid was what they call in this part of the world a rain handler. It's a term for people in Indonesian society who are believed to be able to control the rain or the weather. Generally, rain handlers control the weather by moving clouds. They
managed to race at some point today. I think it's going to be very interesting.
Massimo, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
Yeah, we should actually congratulate Aleix Espargaro on the subject of Aprilia. Aleix Espargaro, if you've been following him on social media earlier this week, he sent out a bit of a call to arms to the Indonesian fans to try and get him over the 1 million Instagram followers mark. He promised to give away his helmet, almost to the point to throw it into the crowd if he made it. He started the week 60,000 followers away, and we're delighted to say that with a day or two to spare, Aleix Espargaro succeeded. The Indonesian fans tipped him over the 1 million followers mark. So should we get underway and should this race take place and Aleix Espargaro reach the finish of it, those fans could be lifting their hands ready to catch Aleix Espargaro's crash helmet in an hour or two's time.
A good job by Aleix Espargaro. And finally, after all the delays, we did eventually get the pit lane rubber duck. It was bound to happen, and finally Suzuki, they didn't let us down, did they? Well, those beaches have been beautiful, sun-drenched and sun-kissed all week so far. Unfortunately, just at the biggest moment of the weekend, right now we'd be thinking or hoping we'd be calling the second or third lap in the first Indonesian Grand Prix for 25 years. But at the moment, all we can do is look skywards and hope that at some point the rain will abate and we're going to be able to get a shortened 20-lap race underway. The pit lane, as we said, it has been delayed due to the weather conditions. The opening of pit lane, it was due to be open at 14:55. That was about 7 minutes ago, with an ideal delayed race start of 3:10 local time. And as you can see, that will not be currently happening. As soon as we have any further information about a potential race start, of course, you'll be the first ones to know. Fair play to the fans as well, they're sticking it out, they're persevering. I guess you could say in this part of the world they're used to this kind of torrential rain. I think I'm sure I was told by the locals we're kind of at the back end of the rainy season, so we've been pretty unfortunate to have been stuck with this weather. Let's keep our fingers crossed, let's keep everything crossed so that these fans who've waited such a long time to see the best in the world in MotoGP race here in Indonesia, they get to see some track acts. As we mentioned in the warm-up session, what a day it was 2 weeks ago. What a night it was for the Gresini Ducati team. This man taking an emotional first win since the tragic loss of the team boss Fausto Gresini. The team's first win in 16 years. A happy birthday to the team owner, the widow of Fausto Gresini, Nadia Padovani. Happy birthday to you.
Jorge Martin, starting from the front row of the grid. He starts in second place. It's the first time he's started on the front row where he's not been on pole position, of course. He's talking us through his strategy, I think, for the race. Putting in a few lengths of the swimming pool we call the start-finish straight, just outside our window ahead of us. Franco Morbidelli, of course, who you saw while we were hearing from Simon a few moments ago, has that three-place rib penalty for a practice start infraction. I'd say that's about 6 lengths of a swimming pool at the moment that Franco Morbidelli has to try and make up on the grid. He's dropped from 12th on the grid to 15th. Of course, the absence of Marc Marquez has now promoted him back up to 14th.
Yeah, Marc Marquez, after a disastrous 2 days here in Mandalika, 3 crashes at turns 10, 11 and 12 throughout the course of the weekend. He actually was praying for rain yesterday. He didn't mind a wet race. Well, he's got his wish, but unfortunately, Marc Marquez, if you are just joining us for the first time, of course, we were hoping to be underway here in Indonesia. Sadly, this rain, this torrential rain, has delayed the start. If you're hoping to tune in right now to see MotoGP action involving Marc Marquez, well, sadly, we haven't got either. Because Marc Marquez ruled out after getting a concussion in that high-speed, high-side at turn 7 in this morning's warm-up session. There's Brad Binder's crew looking on. Checkman, Daniel Attack, Johnny Eyre, Mark Lloyd, known as Pump in the Pad for so many people. They were very, very confident
Well, last time we saw weather conditions something resembling this. Brad Binder was on slicks, of course, when he was winning the Austrian Grand Prix.
Binder sat down in the garage now, just telling his mixing technician, yeah, don't worry with the wets, mate, I'll just go out and slip, no problem.
Yeah, he walked on water to win that Grand Prix back in the summer of last year, of course. An extraordinary end to that race, of course, with rain in the closing stages. Brad Binder on a tightrope, stuck it out on slicks. Well, as mentioned a moment ago, Jorge Martin set to start from the front row of the grid today. He's lining up second on the grid. Let's get some pre-race thoughts from him with Simon.
Jorge, thanks for coming out of the garage and talking to us. You looked great at the first two opening races, really competitive at both. Looking really good here. I heard you say that you felt good in the dry coming into this race. Tell us about how your weekend's gone until now.
Yeah, sure. From the first moment out on the track, for sure, when there were some mixed conditions, I was trying to get the confidence, but when it was full dry, I was really competitive. Our main issue was to find the perfect rear tire. It was the main problem for today, but afterwards, when they reduced the race 20 laps, we were going to put the soft. But in the first case, we were going to put the medium. So I was confident and focused on the last 7-8 laps. But finally, raining, we need to wait. The problem is that we didn't try, but I hear that there's a lot of grip here. In wet conditions, I feel great with my Ducati, and I'm expecting, let's see if we can race, and if we can race for sure, I think we can be up in the front.
Jorge, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks Simon, thanks to Jorge Martin. Always good of him to come and have a chat, of course. These riders will be feeling the tension, always difficult to know when you're not quite sure when you're going to get the call to arms and have to go out and race in these, at the moment, treacherous conditions. We can see the safety car. Wow, there's just been a massive bolt of lightning light up the grey and gloomy sky outside of our commentary box. You probably hear as well, we can through our headsets, yet more big claps of thunder. I feel so sorry for the organisers here in Mandalika, of course. There's been so much work behind the scenes, not just over the last few months or so, over many years, to bring MotoGP back to this part of the world. Friday night, Saturday night, I was looking at the rehearsals for the new grid ceremony, which we saw for the first time in MotoGP in Qatar, where we get to see the Tower of the Champions Tower Trophy, the race-winning prize here in Mandalika. Of course, the President himself is present here today and was going to be part of that special new grid ceremony. Unfortunately, these torrential rain conditions have curtailed all that. Such a shame for so many people. Lewis, of course, you've got to understand and get a taste of just how popular MotoGP is in this part of the world. You attended that amazing pre-event where the riders did a parade in downtown Jakarta. It was like Beatlemania. Like the Rolling Stones were in town. These guys are treated like rock stars. Whoa! Well, we said that there was some claps of thunder and bolts of lightning. What a get that is by our camera crews out on circuit. We should give actually a special mention to our camera operators as well, because what a shot that was. That just gives you an idea of just how troublesome the weather is proving here. But yeah, coming back to the pre-event, Lewis, you were pleasure enough to be there and witness firsthand just how massively popular MotoGP here is in this part of the world. It really was like Beatlemania. Look at that. Off in the distance. We are getting the thunderstorms that were forecast.
Yes, it's a spectacular sight, or not a spectacular sight that I think anyone
watching is actually shaking because this thunder is so fierce.
Yeah, I was about to say, the parade that we saw on Wednesday was like nothing I've ever experienced. Neither was that. The feeling under our shoes in this commentary box, which was shaking with this electrical storm. Yeah, it was a tremendous day on Wednesday, it has to be said. The reception the riders got was like nothing I've ever experienced. The parade that took place early that morning in Jakarta from the President's Palace. The riders got to meet the President here of Indonesia and have some breakfast with him before they headed off through the streets. And I spoke about this earlier on the weekend. There was a real Tour de France sort of vibe to it, with the fans lining the side of the road with the ability to give high fives and fist bumps to the riders. They put on a great show as well for the fans who came out to watch. We saw Marc Marquez, Pecco Bagnaia, Jack Miller doing burnouts and giving them some real entertainment. And you just got the impression that this was amongst the best experience of some of these people's lives. They really do live and breathe MotoGP in this part of the world. Trans only football rivals MotoGP and motorcycle racing as a whole for popularity in this part of the world. They really do get behind it, and it's fitting that MotoGP does race in this part of the world. And yeah, the reception of the riders was incredible. Plus, Spargo spoke, as you mentioned a moment ago, that they